Welcome to Get Moving TV. I'm Dr. Chris Landon and I serve as your host. We're here in Ojai today. We made a little field trip here to the village jester. Nigel Chisholm, who will be a guest later, has served graciously as our host. The reason I came out to Ojai is there's a lot of things here in Ventura County we just don't hear about in Ventura. Here we have the Nomad Gallery, and with me today is Dr. Skanke. Welcome, Dr. Skanke.
Thank you.
When I first moved to Ojai, I think probably half the town had been delivered by you, and then the other half over the next 20 years or so. Yeah. But I see you're wearing a Rotary shirt today.
Yeah.
So what kind of things have you been doing? Something that has to do with the Nomad Gallery, I think.
Basically it started out with Nomad Foundation, and when I retired, I was looking for something to do and to get involved. Rotary was the answer for that, really. Rotary has as its motto, service above self, and that was exactly what I was looking for, and so have got involved with that and had an opportunity to do a number of trips which involved helping and serving. So
what kind of trips were those? Because part of what we're looking at is there comes a time in our lives where we want to give back, and we really want to work on people giving back early and earlier, not waiting, and taking that time throughout their lives to enrich their lives. So what kind of trips did you take, and how did it enrich your life?
It enriched my life fantastically. One of the things I think most of us face when we're going through retirement is, what I faced anyway, what am I doing here? I need to have some purpose in life, and that was my feeling. And so being a physician was a great asset for that, because it was really the dessert of my life, medical life. I've been down to Nicaragua doing things. I've been down to Mexico doing things. Most of them with Rotary. I've been along the Amazon for a month doing a medical clinic down there. Been to Roatan, where I'm still going there, and that's in Honduras. You know about that. And I've been to Tonga in the Pacific Islands, and that was really, really interesting. So each one of them has been a real adventure for me, because, I don't know, as a young kid I was read about these fascinating places, and so we got a chance to visit them, and really enjoyed it, really loved it, and the people loved what I did, and it was just a really neat experience.
Well, sometimes with those trips we kind of end up being the circus in town, and the circus is in town, here's something enjoyable to do, and we'll bring the child in, and then maybe they'll not be sick, but they're going to see that famous doctor from the United States. And then after a while, you start to realize, if I'm going to leave something behind, I need to change what happens there. Right. I need to teach that person to fish. I can't just keep bringing them fish.
Exactly.
I need to teach them to fish. So how's your project in Niger progressed?
In Niger was, of course, in part sponsored by Nomad Foundation, Leslie Clark. And I got started on there with her about 5 years ago. She came to Rotary, and I was giving a presentation about some of my trips. And she said, I need a doctor. And I said, I'm the man. So for the first 3 to 4 years, we had built a clinic there in Niger. And we basically saw patients in the clinic, and they appreciated it. They had many diseases that we didn't have here, malaria and a lot of tropical diseases as well, even though it's near the desert. But after about 3 or 4 years, every time I'd come back, they'd be sick again. I was going no place with it. And so, being an obstetrician, I looked around and got a little bit more information and found out that in Niger had the highest mortality rate, neonatal mortality rate and maternal mortality rate, that's with the women and with the babies, in the world. 1 out of every 7 women would die sometime during their life in labor. That was really high. And that was for the whole country. and not for these people that we were dealing with the nomads who had no medical care at all. And it was very interesting that these people were living like they did back in the time of Abraham. No, I'm really serious. Yeah, the one advance that has happened in the last few years is, if you could guess, is cell phones. They're all over the world. And so I did a fair amount of research. I called and talked to a lot of doctors who've been overseas. I did as much research as I could about how would you increase their knowledge and care for their women. And so it really paid off, because we went there and we have worked out of a total of about 9 encampments. These are people that are sort of on the move, and trained them. These are women chosen by their leaders who were completely illiterate. None of them could write or read, but they had brains that were just like sponges, and they were really interested. And within 2 weeks, was 2 weeks spread up, 1 week and then come back another time for another week, we were able to teach them to even do breech deliveries at more effectively. We had no IVs for them. They were out in the country. We had no shots for them, so it was all, basic stuff. And whereas they normally have those who die, about a third of them or more die of postpartum hemorrhage. And then the rest of them are infections or other. Mainly, one of the big problems is dehydration, because they just don't get much fluid. Anyway, these girls, to this point in our training for them, we've had about 170 deliveries, have not lost a mother, have not lost a baby born alive, because we got problems in labor dealing with them.
What leaves me speechless, how you've changed a culture where 1 in 7 women dies in labor to no deaths in 170 deliveries, and doing it with people who are unable to write, forgot to go to medical school, if we don't know how to read, and yet you've changed the lives of a country. And your intention is to keep going back. Now, through Ventura Global Health, it's time for some of us to really extend what we do. And so what are the plans with Ventura Global Health and the Nomad Foundation?
Well, what we're looking for is for them to develop a program that the people in our country, in Roatan, in Niger, can progress on their own, sustainability. And so far we have got educated the number of women that we need to. And that's pretty much covers the area that we can deal with these ladies there. We've also trained trainers over there, nurses from Niger, and so they can do their training. We have started working with the people who lead these various encampments to get them to buy into the program, so that they will pay these midwives and pay for the material that is needed to use the expendables. And then that only leaves us a follow-up education. Like we as doctors have to have a yearly so many hours of study, and we need people to go back there and do that, and then it'll be totally self-sufficient program. And so that's basically what we're looking for. That we took advantage of having cell phones, and we have a permanent trained nurse from that area, from Agadez, and they're there 24/7 in the clinic. And so when one of these ladies has a complication, they can call in and get guidance as well. And that's one of the advantages. And that's why we have a limitation of these number of units. For the last 10 years, but prior to 10 years ago, they were continuously on the move, and they moved all their older people and their younger people. But about 10 years ago, they started to do semi-permanent units where they could leave the people who are really not necessary to go with the animals. And so that's an area that we can deal with. So we're looking forward to having the support of the Ventura Global Group, because they're going to allow young residents or young doctors who are interested in obstetrics to come and work with us and to help sort of follow up. And each doctor will have his own little thing that will make things work a little bit better. And so over the years, I think it will grow and do really, really good. I'm also looking for other countries to do the same thing. And right now, we're looking at Tibet as a possibility too. So I want to go on and on.
Well, Dr. Skanke, thank you for all that you do, of course, and we'll have information available how to support Ventura Global Health, how to support the Nomad Foundation. Right. And Ventura, it's time for you to get moving to help these guys out, but our young doctors need to get there to Niger and to Tibet. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The other thing about Ojai is there seems to be constant plays in Libby Park, at the Ojai Community Center. There's always some kind of fundraising going on. It's a very aware community. We have watched community gardens being built in the local schools, a real dedication to nature. One of my neighbors, Marianne O'Connor, is having a fundraiser on biodiversity and was kind enough to bring me the founder. And Sarah, tell us a little bit about yourself, your organization, and we're going to let you loose.
Great. My name is Sarah Otterstrom, and I'm the founder and executive director of Paso Pacifico. And Paso Pacifico is a Ventura County-based nonprofit organization focused on empowering rural communities in Central America, both fishing and farming communities, and helping them to restore forests, protect coral reefs, and to connect the local biodiversity for their benefit and for the benefit of threatened wildlife and forests.
So burning down the Amazon forest hasn't been good for the animals and the people and...
No, in fact, it hasn't been really good. And one of the interesting things about where Paso Pacifico works is we're focused on Central America, which is sometimes considered part of North America and is very geographically close to a lot of people in California. People from Ventura often vacation in Costa Rica or Nicaragua. And really, in the past century, most of the region, and specifically the Pacific slope of that region, was deforested. And so a lot of the wildlife, including wildlife that we would consider very charismatic, like the critically endangered spider monkey, the Central American spider monkey, is extinct in most of Western Central America. And so the spider monkey needs a connected forest canopy. It needs the trees to connect at the top. The spider monkeys can't come to the ground and to move across the landscape. And so for them to find food, they need an intact forest. And just like spider monkeys need food, communities need food, and they need water. And water resources come from watersheds. And so part of restoring the forest for the spider monkeys turns into restoring the forest for communities. Because the Pacific slope ecosystems of Central America are also called dry tropical forests. And that is, they are seasonally dry and they're very prone to drought. And so if the area is deforested, the rivers and the watersheds are more prone to drying out, and communities are left without water and thereby left oftentimes without food and livelihoods. So part of our effort is not just restoring the forest for the wildlife, but it's really about developing a community well-being that's integrative and that is sustainable for the long term in the region.
One of the things we have going on in Ojai right now is some controversy about the water supply itself and where we're going to get our water and how we pay for it. And when we were in the Honduras, I was offered, well, you can go to the Mosquito Coast with us. We'll be in a dugout canoe, and if you fall out, the piranha will eat you. So we went in by helicopter, and the biggest problem was that in the wells were the coral snakes. That they had a problem reaching in for the water for coral snakes going to come back in the bucket. And then the other is just the things we were talking about with Dr. Skanke, is we really want people to be able to fish for themselves rather than just bring in a tourist dollar. What kinds of things are you doing to help them to self-sustain?
So we really also believe that communities need to be self-sustaining, and we also believe that conservation and biodiversity conservation shouldn't be a value that is placed upon communities by North Americans or people from Ventura, but it needs to be something embraced locally. And so we achieve that by three ways. One, we create employment and provide economic incentives and benefits. So for example, we work to protect endangered sea turtles that are nesting on the beach. And normally, pretty much 100% of sea turtles nesting on the coast of Nicaragua presently, the eggs are stolen to be used for commercial purposes, to sell the turtle eggs in the capital city. And so we met together with a group of turtle egg poachers, and we said, listen, you know, we know this is a business for you, but it's hurting your community. It's leaving you on the beaches at night. It's leading to dependency on alcohol when there's a big sale of turtle eggs. Let's find a different path. And so we have a team of turtle egg rangers, and these rangers are people who are former poachers, and now they've been doing it now for 5 years, and they can affix satellite transmitters to sea turtles so scientists can monitor the movement of endangered sea turtles internationally. They can host visitors. They're employed by Paso Pacifico. They receive a salary, a social security benefits, and now they are leaders in their community, because the next area where we work to empower communities is through youth. And we really believe that by empowering and supporting a new generation, we can change attitudes and beliefs in communities. And so our rangers who patrol turtle nesting beaches, and we have another set of rangers who patrol and protect forests and help us to monitor the wildlife in the forest. They lead a program called the Junior Ranger Program. And we have a multifaceted educational program where children get to do interactive environmental education. These are children from rural communities who oftentimes don't have a lot of opportunities for recreation. And these kids get to go on field trips, they get to learn how to use binoculars, they get to learn about some of the international interest in much of their wildlife. And when they complete their project as part of their graduation from this program that we call the Junior Ranger Program, they earn a badge for each segment they do. And so the kids lead a community service project and then they graduate. And by doing a community service and then receiving the recognition as junior rangers, getting their badge and becoming part of this network, the children are empowered and they see a future that's more, that's brighter, that they realize that they are part of a global community, just like we in Ventura are part of a global community.
And so how can we in Ventura learn? We're going to learn through this television program. Do you work with the schools here? I know the fundraiser should help raise community awareness. So how are you spreading the word up here as well?
Well, I think we need to do a better job at that. But one thing that I do, and some of my staff at the Ventura office, where Paso Pacifico is headquartered, is we do outreach events in the schools, in the high schools in Ventura and beyond. We also provide opportunities for children in schools to write letters to the children in Nicaragua and exchange thoughts and feelings they have about wildlife or observations they have about wildlife. But we're working to build that. One area that we're very interested in is, because we're focused on integrative health, integrative conservation and community integration, is that we want to also address some very basic health issues that the communities confront. And Nicaragua suffers from a lot of poverty, but in general, the families are fed. They do not lack calories, but they lack nutrition. And there's a problem of chronic childhood malnutrition. And a lot of that comes from farms, and the food production is primarily based on the production of corn. But there's not a diversity in household gardens. And household gardens are of interest to Paso Pacifico because there's a lot of genetic diversity in traditional crops, and also other crops that can be introduced. And also by having diverse crops and farms, it creates a more porous landscape. And we say porous landscape, we mean that wildlife and animals, and whether it's insects and butterflies or bats, they all can interact in a more diverse and healthy way with that landscape. And so our vision is to work, and we've begun work with rural clinics in helping women and children to have better access and better supplies in their health clinics. And the medium-term goal is to work with volunteers, hopefully from Ventura, who will come and work with issues of women's health and also household nutrition, and combine that with enriching community rural farms and strengthening food production to benefit biodiversity and to benefit the rural communities. So.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much for what you're doing. And
thank you.
Ventura, there's one more place for you to get moving. We need to help people in Nicaragua. We need to learn from this ourselves, and time to save the animals in the forests. Welcome back. Ventura can be a seed point for other things too. There are national organizations, and sometimes someone local really just takes off with it locally and really serves all of California and makes us think about really all of the United States. So with me today is Dan from Best Day Foundation. Dan, tell me about Best Day Foundation, how you got involved.
Well, Best Day Foundation is a nonprofit organization that's designed basically to serve families and children with special needs. Gives them an opportunity to do things that normally they could not do under normal circumstances, like going to the beach and going tandem surfing or bodyboarding. To take a kid with special needs out, the family would have to hire a host of professionals and water safety crews, and what we do is we just kind of give them that opportunity to experience the things that normal kids experience. You know, where they can't do it because of their disabilities, we step in and assure them that they can, and we take them out and we do it in a structured and safe environment so that it builds their self-esteem. It just gives them a little bit better outlook and a little bit more trust and faith in the other people that are around them.
Yeah, that they can do anything. You know, yes, you can. I think that's
exactly. It's a total yes, you can attitude, and even the kids that come to the beach that have never been to the water, never been on the sand, they're scared to death because it's just such a new experience for them. You know, after 15, 20 minutes, they're running around with smiles on their faces. They're playing in the water. They're surfing. They're doing all these things that they never even thought existed, or that they could even do.
And their parents were afraid too.
Yeah, the parents, you know, to be a parent is one thing, but to be a parent of a special needs child is a whole different world. A lot of people don't really understand what it takes. It's a non-stop job. I mean, 24 hours a day, you're servicing there by the side of your child, you know, as to where, you know, normal, regular family with, you know, active kids, the kids are out playing and this and that, but you're involved with that child the whole time.
It's hard enough going to a restaurant, much less out to the beach. So do you have some special kinds of devices? I mean, a lot of times these kids are in wheelchairs, so they have mobility problems. So
yeah, we do have a lot of the state-of-the-art materials and tools to use. We have beach wheelchairs, which are not only are they waterproof and float, we can take them all the way to the water's edge, put them on a tandem board or a bodyboard, and take them out from there, or run around the beach with them. You know, little off-road courses that we put out for the kids in the wheelchairs, and we have special surfboards designed for kids that are wheelchair bound, with chairs mounted onto them, so that we can take them out on the waves as well.
I take care of a lot of these kids, of course, in my practice, and so, you know, to never see a sunset at a beach, you're giving them that opportunity. It just something else. What kind of programs do you have coming up?
We have actually quite a few. We're right in summertime is our busiest time of the year. We do have some for the snow on the East Coast throughout the winter, but summertime, at least for our Ventura chapter, we host 8 to 10 events. And each event will do 40 to 45 children, and it's a 2-day events, so we'll bring about 90 kids on average to the beach and give them half a day. We run them through an obstacle course. We get them playing in the water. We get them through all the different water activities. And then at the end we serve them lunch, and then we have an award ceremony for them, which basically every child gets a medal. They also get a gift bag from local, a lot of our local vendors and local sponsors provide toys, blankets, shirts, stuff like that, cool things for the kids. So they not only do they get a great experience, but they also get something to remember it by.
Well, so you have an event in August and an event in September and October?
We do. We have an event August 17th and 18th down in front of Crown Plaza, and that's going to be for children of all ages and all disabilities. We also have them in September. We're doing one up in Santa Barbara. We're opening up a new chapter up there, so we're taking our Ventura team up there to get them up and going. And then in October we round it up again and kind of have an end of season.
Well, how does someone get involved? Because when you give to someone, you get so much more back. We were talking earlier, when you adopt a dog, come on, you're the one who's winning on this. It's not the pet rescue; it's a human rescue. So, how can you volunteer? What's the process?
It's real simple. Basically, we go to our website. You can go to our website, which is Best Day Foundation, and click on the link to participate or to volunteer. For our participants, which is the children, it's a simple registration process. They pick the event they want to go to. They sign up, we give them a confirmation call. It's the same basic setup for the volunteers. They sign up for which event they want to come volunteer for, and we call them back, give them a confirmation, tell them what time to be at the beach, and give them the whole rundown on the day of the events.
Well, Dan, thank you so much. You're a great representative for Best Day Foundation. So, Ventura, it's time for you to get moving to Nicaragua and the beach and Niger. It's time for you to volunteer your time and get more back than you give.